What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I also wanted to break down another very important catalyst that just came out for Tesla, which is very bullish for the long term of the company. But before I break into all this information, before I give you guys a very quick overview of the week that's coming up and what the charts are showing us, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500 into the account, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 free stocks. And this all friends today, so check it out before they run out. I will not be promoting this going into tomorrow. Anyways, when it comes to Tesla, this thing is in a very, very nice range right here. It loves to go back and forth between 205 and 198. We've been stuck like this for the past 5 days. So the question is Tesla going to turn bullish and try to get this break above 205? Or are we about to retrace a little bit more before we continue? I'll be giving you guys an answer in just a couple of minutes. But I first want to talk about something else that's very important. For the week, we have some very minor data, at least to start us off. At least for Monday, we just have Harker giving a speech. For Tuesday, we have the PMI reports coming out for the global composites, not to mention the ISM services data, so lots of services data, new orders, which is going to be very important. And then we also have Jerome Powell giving a speech on one of these days. He has a little testimony he's going to be giving on Wednesday. So we'll see what Jerome Powell has to say. He could say something that could move the markets. He could be asked something. So we'll see. He might not say that much, but we'll just wait and see. I'll see what else happens. Usually during testimonies, he doesn't say a whole lot of stuff. But you never know, so always be prepared just to be safe. And then later on, we just have a lot of labor data coming out for the rest of the week. So not as crazy of a week in terms of data for the coming week relative to this week, and we'll see how things go. I also want to note that we have some earnings coming out. Please know that we have C coming out for Monday. We also have GitLab and a couple of others. Then we have a lot of retail stocks coming out later on. We have Neo and Target announcing earnings. I know a lot of retail will watch Neo. For after the market closes, we have CrowdStrike, not to mention ChargePoint plus Ross. For Wednesday, we have EVgo, Footlocker, and a couple of others. And we also have like Victoria's Secret. For Thursday, we have Big Lots and Costco. Costco's going to be one of the biggest ones for the week. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is quite minor. Nothing too crazy is going to be coming out for the week. Nothing that's going to shake the entire market, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we get some good earnings, at least for a lot of these retail stocks out there. And with that being said, the fear and greed index is currently at extreme greed. But you want to be careful when you see this happen. Market momentum is still at extreme greed. And we're still seeing the puts and call positioning dropping right over here. So this basically tells us that there's a lot of puts being closed and a lot of delta hedging going on. We do tend to see institutions hedge when they close their puts by buying up shares. So that's part of why we saw the market push the way it is as we're seeing these puts being closed. And we're also starting to see the ratio, excuse me, we're seeing the ratio kind of like drop here and there, which is like really important. So we'll see what happens with this. We're at these extremes, so just be a little bit careful. As far as Tesla goes, we had some good news for the long term. Of all companies, Rivian is now coming out and they're confirming the Tesla supercharger access in March. Very, very big news. The EV owners are now going to start having access to Tesla superchargers. This is actually right after the announcement came out that Ford's EV owners officially get access as well. And they're just continuing to join the crowd. Now, I went over a study that was conducted not too long ago that shows the growth in not just EVs, but also the supercharger network. And what many of these analysts have found is that it could generate over $10 billion in revenue from Tesla throughout the world over the upcoming years. And very, very soon, they're expecting over $1 billion just from superchargers and super networks very, very soon. So that's like super short term. And within the next decade, they're expecting like over $10 billion. So this is going to become a massive, 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 massive market for Tesla. And we're starting to see more companies like Ford and Rivian joining in. This is a big bullish catalyst. Now, Rivian EV owners will have access to over 15,000 superchargers by Tesla, and Tesla made a genius move by getting control over all of these superchargers. So that's big news because now with this standard that's being adopted, it's just Tesla's standards that's coming out on top, and then more companies are just joining in and they're just getting the benefits from Tesla. So Tesla comes out on top again. This is very bullish for the long term for Tesla Energy, and as time goes on, I see different sectors kind of like following in this path with more and more growth. Now, on top of this, I just want to call out that we had 82 million in volume. Less volume for Tesla wasn't really that fun to trade. Got one little pop before coming back down. Now, on top of this, we also had RBC Capital saying that Tesla is going to outperform the market, which is good news. They're saying Tesla has a lot of potential. It's strong financial estimates. The price price ratio is bouncing a little bit. Tesla's gaining a little bit of strength. In terms of seasonality, we do tend to be green about 53% of the time on Mondays. We'll see how things go from here. But with that news coming out for Rivian, that's a good piece of news for Tesla's long term. Not saying it's going to affect us a whole lot on Monday, but I do think for the long term, it's going to be very, very bullish. So now, just a couple of techniques I want to go over. If you look at Tesla right here, we're in this range. We like to get rejected off this 205 area. We like to get bought up around 198. So it's just been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to be watching to see what happens as time goes on. Now, I think what's very likely is notice how every time we hit this top up here, we tend to come down to at least 200, right? We came up here, it's about 205, then we came down all the way down to 198. Right here, we hit 205, then we came all the way down to about 198. So my point is, we came up to 204, a little bit under that, 204.5, so we're 50 cents away. And it's very likely this is going to retrace back down to 200, maybe a little bit lower, then rebound again. And we might just continue to range trade. That is most likely what's going to happen to Tesla. But for us to turn bullish, we have to break 205, and we have to get a clean break above that. We need a bullish catalyst. For the short term, of course, we need a bearish catalyst for this thing to lose 198 and start sinking towards like 195 or so. I think there's a good chance we get a little retracement and retest 200, and then maybe even 198, then just come back up. And we just continue to trade sideways. For SPY, I see something very similar happening because our key Fibonacci retracements are 0.618 retracements, very close to that 510 area. And our 0.786 happens to be very close to this. It was like at 508.6 last time I checked. That aligns very well with SPY's 4-hour 220 EMA, not the 220 EMA. So I think SPY might retrace a little bit towards 510. For the last 3 weeks, what tends to happen to SPY is we rally on Fridays, and either Friday we turn or by Monday we pop a little bit more in turn. So we tend to turn on Mondays, and there's a very good chance that might happen just for a temporary little pullback. So I think this thing might retrace a little bit towards 510, if not 508, and then rebound. So watch for that very, very carefully. Onto the QQQ, I just want to mention that the QQQ has a very similar trend. Might retrace just a little bit, make its way down towards 442. Either pops first and comes down, or just drops from here. Then it could bounce again, either off 442 or 440. That's where the breakout was, so I'm going to be expecting that. I think that's very likely. Nvidia is still showing strength, though it might not do the same thing. It's still pushing, so it could actually gap up. It could actually gap up very nicely. We could actually see a very, very nice move. So it could continue to push higher. We could even see this thing go all the way up to like 832 before it turns. There's no sign of this dropping it, so wait and see how we end up reacting. I do want to warn you, though, that the last time we were at this high at this 825 area, we got a big rejection, so we'll see if that ends up happening again. But overall, Nvidia is still looking very strong as this thing continues to pump. For Apple has been on the big downtrend. It actually lost this yellow trend line of support, and now we have a possible bearish structure, but make sure you watch support at 178 and 177.5. Watch resistance at 180 and also at 181.36. Now, this could be a possible left shoulder here. This could be a head. This could be like a right shoulder that's forming. If this is an inverse head and shoulders, we could try to get a little rebound. But overall, look at what tends to happen to Apple when we're back around this 180 area. A lot of chop. So Apple might see some defense being played by the bulls, bring it back to 180. Then sideways price action won't really affect the market as much. So that's what I think is very probable, at least for the time being. But with that being said, thank you all so much for listening. I want to kind of conclude the video from here, make it very short and simple. It is a Friday. There's not really a whole lot that happens on Fridays. Let me go over just a few more. How about for Super Micro? To me, it looks like this might retrace. It's uptrending very, very strongly. We could get a little retracement, a backtest of the breakout at like 920, then just continue to go. It might get to 1,000 before we get this big rejection. So look for 1,000. Either we start off at like 920, then push to 1,000 and reject, or we just reject from here. But overall, it's looking very strong. Still might continue to get close to 1,000, just like Nvidia as it's pushing. The IWM, we called out a very, very key level and we came very close to it. We were talking about this thing hitting 207 a couple of days ago. We might retrace a little bit and retest the 20 EMA at 203, then bounce. So look for that just to be safe. Microsoft has a very, very nice looking inverse head and shoulders like structure. If we break 415, we're going to be looking for a push to 420 all over again. If we reject off this, it might retrace first. So it might come down first, but then break out a little bit later. So watch to see if we could break 415. it's still bullish. The overall trend is still bullish. We'll see if we can break that resistance. Overall, not bad. All right, guys, that's it for now. I want to end the video now and just talk more about this maybe in a couple of days. Talk about like Amazon and the others. But I want to make this simple. It's a nice Friday, so please enjoy your evening, enjoy the rest of your day, and have fun. And don't forget to enjoy life tomorrow as well. It's going to be a nice weekend, a nice Saturday. So take care, do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.